Hey, how's it going? You there?
Karma, how are we doing? You well? Good, thanks. Sorry, I was away the weekend. I was having a bit of downtime. Lots of movements in the market.
Pretty good. I'm glad to be home. I went down to the Miami meetup. That was
How
fun.
is it?
And Kurt from On Chain
Oh,
and join here in a little bit. Maybe not tonight, but at some point.
yeah.
Um,
Karma, I've just got a mate of mine here who I'm just trying to show. Remember, like you were talking to me about MetaMask and teach with them, but I wanted to show them Twitter Spaces and just give them a rundown on how it actually works. Around in a few, half an hour, whatever it may be. But let me jump off and get this done. I just wanted to say how's it, but I will be.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. I'm actually helping my brother do that tomorrow.
100%.
Yeah, cool, man.
Cool.
Talk to you in a bit.
Soon. Ciao. Bye.
Hey, how's it going? I know there's some other people going to jump on later. Probably in another 15, 20 or so. If you have any questions or anything, just let me know. I'll do my best. Usually takes a little bit for people to jump on.
My mic wasn't working at first. How you doing?
Good.
I've been trying to join these spaces more often, man. Just trying to educate myself as much as I can about, just the entire ecosystem and everything that's going on. I mean, I've been in the crypto space about like a year now.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the whole purpose price or sort of current events. But I like to try and help people, the moving pieces fit together and that kind of stuff.
Oh, definitely, man. Yeah. And it's funny because when I first started getting into crypto, I really was heavily focused on as much. I'm more so like invested in the tech and like what's really going on in the new infrastructure that's being built.
I mean, I've been around Ripple since the beginning, so I've kind of watched it grow from kind of tight community, and now it's so big.
Yeah.
And all the technology has been built, and strategies and concepts, and the whole space is just getting. The whole congressional hearing from the other day, and
how was that?
Say that again.
How was that Ripple meetup? Like I heard that they were hosting.
Yeah, it was fun. The On the Chain guys were there, and so I think they did a link somewhere. Yeah. I know I shared it. I think I shared it publicly, like in a tweet. So if you scroll through my profile, it might be there around Thursday. But yeah, I mean, let me know if you have any questions or like thoughts or wonders on most things.
Well, okay, so it's probably not really so much related to on the side, man. Is I've started learning to code. What's called Coin Club to be trying to pick this up. So like I really in the long run would like to try to contribute something system of Ripple if possible, or even XRP. Would you possibly institution like or like big exchange like any of these other people? But is there anything that like I guess regular folks could do other people?
I mean, that's a good question. Quincy's great. I've spoke with him too. He's doing. I don't know. There's a couple of guys who've been around for a long time, built themselves like basically so they're trading between, they have like an automated thing, and they're trading digital issued assets, I think is what they're called now, and XRP, provide liquidity on Ledger. There was one guy way back in the day where the whole point was he created I think it was XMM, did like a whole liquidity pool to help build, I assume it's a he, I don't know, but different issued assets in XRP. If you want to stand up and know it, I don't code either. I'm more like the finance guy. Yeah. But I should probably just I can read the code. I basically watched all the stuff get built, so I kind of have seen whatever.
You have like full like back of your hand understanding of how everything's working, man.
I've got a reasonable idea of all, but yeah, I don't know, man. That's kind of a tough question. Like, I've been trying to build some trading bots, and learn the APIs, and that's probably the easiest place to start.
Man, I've been like kind of checking that out a little bit. Now I haven't like full like dived into it just because like I like literally just started, man. But yeah, like I mean, this whole just crypto space really it's crazy.
Well, and there's a lot going on. The other thing,
I've heard about it, man, but I don't know anything about Interledger.
Friggin' awesome. There is no coin because there's no ledger, TP or HTML or
Okay.
and so it helps between, like, helps value move between the different ledgers. And to create something like, I know some other guys that have done stuff where they're connecting, say, the beer or like the Flare ledger with the ledger, and it's just a protocol. So if you learn a little bit about XRP ledger, and then if you learn a little bit about, say, Ethereum or another ledger, ledger protocol to connect anything you build, like, between the two.
Is that
and that's
kind of what Flare is ideally doing?
Sort of, not really.
Okay. I got you.
No, the F assets are actually issued on the and they're more like a wrapped, like a W or I guess FX. Interledger protocol is just a straight protocol, but Bill Gates picked it up, financial inclusion, especially in Africa, and they did kind of a copy paste Mojo loop. If you look on GitHub, you can find that.
Okay.
And so they're helping all the African continent, help make where people can anthropology friend who's spent probably half of every year since the 70s when the colonial people came in and they just drew these arbitrary country borders. Well, cultures, right? And so now there's half of the people in, this culture in one country and half in another. And so I think it's pretty cool, because then maybe they will, maybe Interledger Protocol reconnect some of those people. Yeah. I mean, that would be my hope. Like, I think that would be a really cool thing. But there's also nothing to invest in. So look up Interledger Protocol. Probably find more support under Mojo Loop, but it's all the same stuff.
Right.
Under the something, there's some research.
Yeah, that's a statement within itself.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you to look at. I mean, try and make something to trade. I mean, that's probably like then where you can pull down some price feeds from the ledger, Ripple D or what have you, to listen to do that.
Okay.
And if you can start taking and providing liquidity and making trades, that doesn't matter who it comes from.
Right. That's a good point. Well, hey, I appreciate it. And other than that, I'm just going to kick back and just try to learn as much as I can here. I was like just looking at the titles of like this whole space that you made, man, Internet of Value. I haven't like thoroughly grasped the concept of like exactly what
Yeah, it is. It's just, that's the biggest deal in my opinion. So that's one of the big strategic moves that the Ripple team made that just blew my mind. Bitcoin's going to be everything. And then other people were like, oh, XRP is going to be everything. Ethereum came along and people were talking about that. But then what the Ripple team did is they, when they came out with some influence on this, but it's the whole idea of like, what is the internet, right? It's an internet. So if you look at all these blockchains, each one is its own, siloed network. Right. You have to network those networks together or network those ledgers. So Interledger Protocol is the protocol we'll just gave it to the W3C. And so, and it doesn't just have to be blockchains. It can be like Interledger between two a paper wallet that some guy runs somewhere.
Yeah.
It could be all the blockchains. That's the big picture.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a wow. When they came out with that, I definitely said, wow. I was like, whoa, hold on. This is a whole new ball game.
yeah. I mean, everything being interconnected, like, yeah, that changed. Wow. Yeah.
Say what?
I'm honestly at a loss of words just at the idea of that.
I when all this Ripple stuff first started, the original idea was and would issue, you'd have like JP Morgan issue dollars, Bank of America issue dollars, and Barclays issue pounds and whatever.
Right.
And I think that when the Ripple guys first started going around to the banks were like, yeah, no can do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's privacy laws, there's clients, no can do. And so I think Interledger protocol was probably in part inspired by just the reality of the bank on everything being public. And then probably also in part by the idea of like the whole vision of an internet of value bigger. And yeah, I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. No. I mean, like now that you like broke it down, especially piece by piece like that. Yeah, I understand exactly what you mean with the internet of value now. That man, I really feel or really hope because I've been seeing a lot of or I've been hearing a lot of that this opens up a lot of leeway to fix those. Like for instance, like I heard about the thing that's going on with Evergrande. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to be playing in regards to the whole financial markets and whatnot. But
yeah, I that caught my attention. I don't think that's going to be that's a thing or 2007 thing, but it's definitely substantial. If you do you know who Ray Dalio is?
No, that's actually the first time I've heard that.
He runs basically the biggest hedge fund in the world, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
On YouTube, there's a really good video called How the Economic Myths.
Okay.
But he's excellent at articulating about the economy and monetary systems and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And very simple, you could show it to a high schooler and they would get it. And debt is denominated in the country's currency.
Mm-hmm.
Then they through monetary policy. So the Evergrande is denominated in the Chinese currency, and so even if they're so centralized, I guess the CCP,
right.
Chinese Communist Party, whatever, that I step in and cushion any blow that would potentially don't think it's like a Lehman Brothers.
Oh,
moment.
Okay.
But it's still definitely
definitely
because they got a real weird real estate market over there. Too much on about that, but it's like if you're like one of the only asset classes that you can get it. I forget the details. That's why I don't want to go on about it because I don't want to say something that's not right. But yeah, it's kind of a way they keep the money, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Huh. Yeah, man. What I think I'm going to do first, really quickly, I would love to figure out how really the economic machine works. I probably might give you more questions.
Oh, dude, I've watched that video. I mean, I've got a couple of business degrees, and I've been reading 20-something years.
Oh, wow.
And I still, when I watch that video, you ever like watch a movie more than once, and then you like pick up on other references? It's like that,
okay.
Except real world.
Well, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and just place myself on mute for now in case anybody else had any other questions.
No, Chris is in here. He's a little.
What movie were you guys talking about?
Dalio. It's about a 30-minute YouTube video.
Oh, I love that thing. That was one of the first things I listened to. And figure all this stuff out. And that was one of the first things I listened to, and it was completely over my head. And I mean, I'll let somebody else talk because I know you're going to pick somebody else, but I just wanted to say that it was brilliant, number one. And then the funniest thing is I just thought about jumped into crypto and been, starting off with just the coins. Then you go to in DeFi 2.0. Now I look back and I'm like, wow, I actually do know a little bit about that video and like some of the things that were like, oh, that's what he was talking about then. Oh, that's why he said that.
He is definitely, I've got both of his books sitting right here. He's excellent. I mean, I'm a big fan of Ray Dalio.
Puts out whenever he makes a comment on anything, I try to be on it.
Yeah, and it's like most people aren't used to thinking about monetary systems, and I use about water. Like clearly, there's nothing there, and I'm just going to swim away. Like you understood what air was. Most people live their entire lives surrounded and dealing blue about monetary systems, and Dalio is so good at breaking this stuff down and pretty a ton from him.
And on a philosophical note too, is like as I've grown, you can listen to whatever. You can listen to social leaders, you can listen to spiritual, you can listen to historians, you can listen to conspiracy theorists, you can listen to really, really want to know what's going on in the world and what's going to happen in the future. Look at finance. Because when people is.
Well, yeah, and I agree. It's part of the also, when you look at someone like a Dalio, he's not just he's making decisions.
Yeah.
With billions of money, decades, and successful, and he's got a framework and a structure to how he makes. Oh, I think, and then like do that. Like no. There's a structure. The whole way that he runs that Bridgewater company.
Yeah. A little bit.
I mean, he's very. Thanks, man. Yeah, he tries to make his decisions in structured ways, and if he's not about that particular whatever type of company or industry or country or company, as people like rate each other about who's the most authoritative about whatever the meeting's about, and then they go with that person's opinion, kind of. Dalio, if you can't tell.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you. I'm not. I'm still, new to finance, very new to finance, and still trying to two concepts that I've kind of been researching that I haven't been able to understand, and maybe you can shed some lights. So the first one is sort of a CFI question. It could be a DeFi question too, because I know DeFi platforms are doing this too. Let's say I heard the concept first in Richard Kiyosaki's book, Ray Kiyosaki's book, and then I've been hearing it, like on the AMAs with Alice McShane talking about this concept of like lend out. So put your collateral into and use that loan money to live off of or to get something and to keep your capital. However, how are you paying for the job?
So look, and this can be and fail due to liquor and leverage than anything else. Like those are the two things. Crisis, the big thing was the whole systemically, the whole economy. And so how do I explain this? It's kind of I would advise, let me just put it this way. Actions speak louder than words, right? I have zero leverage in crypto. None. About it, I've heard other guys that I know what they're talking about say that they've been able to borrow, like maybe post some collateral for a stable coin and then put it into one of these AMMs or something, and the AMM earns some interest in excess of the cost of the the loan, basically, by and large, in the closer to very risky strategies, personally. And the thing is, so if you see, say you borrow some money against, say you've got like, it doesn't matter, and let's say you borrow out, $25, then you got a 50% drop in the market. Now you only have back in your $25 loan. And depending on the reserve ratio or whatever the service you use to borrow the money from, you could end up getting your crypto liquidated. Some, more. I traded for Fidelity for a couple of years, and I ended up on the view that, like, we took people's houses, we took their kids' college savings. When you get, which is a different type of leverage, but it's the same concept. When you use a mortgage to buy a house, throwing money like against an asset so that you can go do something with it, you're leveraging yourself. Leverage is a double-edged sword. You can feel like and look like a hero, like a genius, double-edged sword. But then, when the market turns, you can lose. State developers, they borrow tons of money, highly leveraged, tens of millions of dollars, dozens of millions of dollars, to losing everything, and like lost everything. I mean,
everything. Yeah, that's very helpful. So I just me philosophically, that's why I have never traded on market. It doesn't seem to make sense to me, because I would say pragmatist and a little bit more conservative. I don't think I would want to be putting my faith.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more in line with what you're saying. Like, I've never done that. Not gonna. But that's more from like a technology point of view. Like, how are they putting this together?
Yeah, and I don't know if this is the same question or not, but made a lot of money in Celsius. And so what's like what Celsius does, you put your coins in Celsius, and then they take your coins, and they go you a percentage back on your coin. They pay you XRP for XRP, this USD for USD. Doing is, and this is probably particular to their model, but they're working with investment firms, and what they require of their investment firms, this is what they talk about in the AMAs, is they require percent collateralization, or 150% collateralization. And so what I can investment firm or a hedge fund, and I want to take out, I want to borrow 20 Bitcoin. So I have to put up 30 Bitcoin or the like equivalent as a collateral so that I can use that. Is that the same conversation we've been having?
Basically, yeah.
That is risky.
Hang on one second. My brother's texting me. Yeah, it's used. So say you have $100 of X crypto and $33, then you would have 150%. If the market goes down, you got to cough up some of that $33 real quick. So it's one of my, and this is how 2007-8 happened. It's particularly the Great Depression that are backed by crypto. Those are effectively. I'm concerned that if we see a big, crypto crash, which I think we will someday, right? And if all of the difference between if all these people have used these stable coins, it's not even like when I used to do margin calls on people at Fidelity, like at least there's a human there. But with all this stuff being automated and smart contracts, and then the smart contracts start liquidating people's positions, and then that crashes the market even more, and then going to liquidate other people, and the smart contracts are just going to start liquidating people. I mean, it recipe for disaster somewhere in there. And I'm not saying the whole thing is bad, but it's concerned me from the beginning when I first started seeing these, crypto-backed stable coins. And it's backed by, USD in a bank or treasuries, or treasuries would even be better than money. And that doesn't concern me. It's the stable coins backed by crypto that concern me.
Backed by treasuries and in the bank, money in the bank.
Yeah, it is. I was watching the guy on the congressional hearing the other day. Today I was watching it, but the hearing was the other day. And the guy in charge of USDC was in there. And it's all the problem I have with that is the cash in the bank is actually fractional reserve. Treasuries backed, but because the bank is fractional reserve business model.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And yeah, the cash is really there. So that bank's holding the cash. They're going to loan out 90% of it. So,
right.
And then, but a bunch of it is backed by U.S. Treasuries, which that's better to me because that's actually, Chris, did you want to say something?
Yeah. So going back to what you were saying about, how the U.S.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Yeah. How like the cash is backed by like stable, or like how the stable coins are backed by the cash.
I can't really hear you, man.
Okay, hold on. Hello?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sorry. So, how some stable coins are backed by, USD, projects such as Terra Luna, because that's like the same, a bunch of stable coins, and they back them by, cash and stuff like that.
I mean, I don't have I guess I would put three different buckets of categories of risk. So you've got your stable, quote unquote, stable coins backed by crypto, margin loans. And there's nothing wrong with margin loans, but just recognize it as a margin loan. Don't call it a stable. Against an equity, it's a margin loan against a crypto. It's just a different asset. It's like getting debt is the home that you're pulling out, a line of credit, basically. Market is crypto. I think that's probably closer to the recipe for design. If the stable coins are backed by, on the other end of the spectrum, testimony in Congress was all about the stable coins, which I get, and some CBDC talk. If you have like the stable coins backed by, say, short-term U.S. Treasuries or something, because that's actually the U.S. Treasury, which makes the dollar. Safer than that would just be a CBDC backed by the Fed's balance sheet. But on the Fed's balance sheet, there's not much of a difference there. The gray zone to me, coin that's backed by, say, cash in the bank, they're not really a bank, so you're not getting away from fractional reserve, right? Because cash in the bank, that say you put $100 in the bank and you mint $100 stable coin, so or whatever the reserve ratio is, you're this literal cash in the bank, except and a digital blockchain representation. And it's backed 1-to-1 by US dollars. It might be backed 1-to-1 by stablecoin tokens, and they put $100 in the bank, but the bank's going to loan out. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. So that kind of goes into the tether conspiracy at all, about how there's not enough from a 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, and I haven't looked into it in super headlines and whatnot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I haven't gone and looked at their balance sheet or anything, and I think that they're neither that from a couple articles I've read. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that concerns me. All like a demon moment in crypto.
Yeah, a crypto conspiracy with David Morgan. He's a big silver guy. It's actually pretty about the whole tether conspiracy more and what's kind of going on behind the scenes there.
What's it called?
It's called The Crypto Conspiracy with David Morgan. And it's a 7-part series.
Yeah, I would. I don't even know if they're transparent enough to share their balance sheet. Tether, like, you know, on the liability side, they owe you a stablecoin dollar. This is no different than the Federal Reserve or any central bank.
Yeah.
You know, it is a liability to the central bank, and it's backed up by whatever's on the asset side of the balance there. Then I don't have a problem with it. I mean, you can look at the nature, and as long as the balance sheet actually balances, that was some of the concern I read with Tether, is that they were like, in the congressional thing, we were just talking about them. USDC, I guess they did, and then now they're, you know, promising full backing. But, you know, when those ratios, if the balance sheet doesn't balance, it don't balance, and that's a problem.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of is once, you know, Tether gets audited, you know, by Congress, right, through force of Congress, down, Bitcoin goes down, and so does Ethereum, and then that's how the crypto market, such as XRP and everything that's not kind of ETH based and big safer.
Yeah, I think that makes all the sense in the world in this regard. And then you have to pile on top of that, if you have all these assets and then the crypto market crashes and then the stable coins, smart causes even more selling pressure, which drives price down even more, and you get into a feedback loop, and that's where bad too. But that's where a lot of like 2000 feedback loop. But you can go the other way too. And what was the other thing you were just saying? There's the Tether.
Oh, about Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Oh yeah, I mean, by proof of work.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
If that work is based on proof of work, I'm already out.
Right.
I mean,
and it's interesting too. You know, speaking with Ethereum, that actually given Ethereum official clarity. They wasn't official in the, you know, since the whole SEC thing's going on with Ripple. They said that his speech is not an official, does not it has legal clarity for.
Yeah, I saw it. Man, this SEC lawsuit is just, my gosh, it's terrible. Like, the SEC look like freaking fools. Know from the beginning that Ripple went in, like, I don't know if you know who Greg Kidd is. He was a payments system researcher for the Federal Reserve before he joined Ripple. Like, they went straight in to the and all the regulators, like, from day one. And it was like, it's just not right. I don't know. It's theater. I think the Ethereum guys somehow got to the SEC. The craziest thing to me is, one, how much stuff the quote unquote XRP. That's not looking good.
Yeah, don't mess with the XRP army, that's for sure.
I mean, Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
And like, when I was a trader, like, dude, I had the utmost respect for the SEC. But this, they're not consistent in anything. Even after they filed the lawsuit, there's men saying, you know, we at the SEC, blah blah blah, Ethereum and Bitcoin are good. There's, I think he said, no, it's just an opinion. Like, what?
These guys are either like so heavily invested in BTC and ETH that they took a position against a round table of fat cats with their $500 cognacs and cigars. Let's slap XRP with a lawsuit. That way we can keep buying at a low price and let the thing go. Probably
see that
the first is more.
The first is obviously pretty much already documented, so that's not even more likely. I think obviously the BTC and Ethereum related businesses. That we know that. One of the things that, don't always pay attention to what people say. Pay attention to what they don't say. And my God.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's the fabric of like the it's one of the coins. It's it's in all the central banks' underlying framework, clearinghouses in like Asia and the banks in Asia. So I mean, like, it's hard to believe strong against it. I'm surprised nobody kind of leaned on them and said, "Hey, guys, you're."
Well, John Deaton's like write your comment.
Yeah.
So I finally did that the other day, and
yeah.
So I did a whole video with her. I think that's the entire point was, and I was glad when I was watching the congressional hearing today. This is like a national security issue. This is not. None of this is a freaking joke.
Absolutely.
And the point that I made when I wrote that, is I was like, guys, please understand the proof of work and proof. It's not much better. Proof of work is effectively an arms race. Who wants to be at the network to try and take over? And then stake is basically like, well, let's just give all the power to whoever was here first. Because Flare made, this is one of the things that really impressed economic argument, which is 100% right. They were like, okay, look, so if you have, and they were like, okay, if you have Ethereum and let's just $1 trillion. I know it's more than that, but whatever. Just go with the number. All you need is 5 billion to take over the network if it's proof of work.
Right.
Proof of stake. You get basically a 2-for-1. So anybody that can cough up 50% of the value of the network, those two different cryptography styles are the security. And so that's the problem. And so with Flare, they because the security of the network is not based on the value of the token. It's basically it might be slightly tweaked, I think, but so it doesn't matter what meant. I was like, hey, if we want our Western banks to dominant position in the global monetary infrastructure, which is obviously changing, then the consensus algorithm that Flare and XRP Ledger use is much preferable, because Bank of America can trust JP Morgan, can trust Barclays, can trust Santander banks and whatever, and then they can specifically not trust like an Iranian bank or a Russian bank, right? Russian banks can't participate in the network, and they don't have to trust American banks. But say you have like the government put out a sanction on Iran, that sanction can be imposed as you just have no U.S. regulated bank, or what do you call countries that are friends? Allies have Iran on the UNL for their instance or what have you. So it's just the whole thing is so much better. I mean, throw that in as icing on the cake, and the speed, and blah blah. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I don't get it, man. I don't know if it's just like the big banks and stuff were like actually intimidated by Ripple and the XRP pushback, and then they're really not scared of Bitcoin and Ethereum
because they're probably all secretly invested in it. Goes on.
I think I'm sure real estate's the number one asset for money laundering in cash. So,
and art,
yes, for sure. That's probably like
how do they money launder with real estate?
Oh, it's just like Panama. There was this old scraggly guy. I don't know if you've ever been to Panama, but when you side I forget what they call it. The like maybe a mile, and there's a whole marina out there. And when you look back at the city, it was nighttime, and in daytime you can see all these nighttime. This old scraggly guy, we struck up a conversation. Yeah, and I was like, yeah. And he goes, you see any lights on? And then like 99% of them are. It's all the cocaine money from Colombia. They buy the condos, they sit on them for a year, sell them a year later, and now they got real estate profits, and that's good, clean U.S. dollars. Example, but
well, that's pretty smart. And you could even be able to like, okay, look, you paid $100,000 for that. I'm gonna buy it, even though it's maybe not even worth.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not. One of the buildings right in the middle of there was a Trump building, and Trump's done a lot of business with the Russians, and where he did exactly what you just said. He bought this mansion for a Russian guy for like 10 or whatever plus million, and then and then sold it, like sold the land. I mean, real estate is definitely the number one. It's probably, if you added up asset classes for laundering money, real estate is more than all of them. And I don't think crypto would be in there, but it might be up though.
Like, so that was really cool what you were mentioning about the your concerns about the considered that, like a stablecoin that's based off of all cryptocurrencies. So in light of that concern, are you concerned about some of the DAOs like?
Honestly, I don't know anything about them to even have an opinion.
Well, for example, the DAOs are like the decentralized autonomous. One of the most popular ones is OM. And so they say it's a protocol-owned liquidity. So what you're doing, token, and then that token is as well, but they also have a treasury that's made up of like DAI, other things as well. But the protocol itself owns all of the liquidity.
Sorry, my brother just texted me.
Yeah, and there's a distinction between the AMM, and I've been listening to like some of these guys like McGree Fresh try to explain it. It's a little bit over my head, but explain the difference.
I'll have to check it out. I have a financial engineering point of view, and I have an extreme curiosity with what I was talking about with this one-sided AMM where you can only put in one asset. AMMs, to me, the impermanent loss, like that just brings in. I get what they're trying to do. I think it's cool. So in terms of I feel like it's like a halfway step to a long-term foreseen liquidity. This conversation chat, but there's a thread on there that has been talking about this for a little while. That with the XRP ledgers DEX, like it'll source of order books and trust lines, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know what the AMM seems like an elementary schooler's solution to, masters of college solution. Like, because the XRP ledger's pathfinding function, that'll route liquidity. You're not stuck with a one-to-one pair. Like the AMMs are just like one-to-one, asset A to asset B. They create risk. I'm not the biggest fan. I mean, obviously, a lot of these projects are doing great. So who the hell am I? I'm nobody, right? Good. High five.
Yeah.
I saw David Schwartz say something that will allow people to supply liquidity. And this would be like interledger protocol big, out of the market. Because if you look back and if you think about like the old school, the New York Stock Exchange, like the guy standing up in the thing and all the other traders are yelling at him and stuff. And so he basically does what an AMM does. He manages an order book, units of value. On one side, he's got dollars, presumably, because it's the New York Stock Exchange, GE or something. And, those guys are kind of lost that somebody providing liquidity to an AMM would be or the other, they can go under and they're out. And so they'll hold an inventory out of skew too far, game over. And I guess I smell the same kind of risk with the AMMs. And if David and the method where participants can provide liquidity and say instead of two, then that's that's probably a highly underappreciated innovation, big time.
Yeah, because I heard him say that too. So that's just not just staking.
I don't know. I've been trying to figure out what the hell and how the hell, and I should pull. If you go on XRP chat, go in the technical sub forum, and there's a conversation there, and I'm in, and I'm.
Is that a website you're referring to or a Discord?
No, XRP chat's kind of the hub of the. Well, more people was the hub. There was XRP talk, and then that guy got fussy and shut it down. Then forum in the early days when, all the Ripple guys were on there, you could have real, not as active on there anymore. They're still there. They watch. They just don't comment as much. But there's a lot of people that really with XRP Ledger on XRP chat, for sure.
And is that just XRP? Sweet, thank you.
Yeah, I want to know. I think it's synthetic order books / auto bridging / DEX. I don't know how else. The Ledger only does so much, right? Unless they're adding new functionality. But that's definitely when I super interested to hear things. How's your setup go?
Good, Carbo. Got them set up. It's actually quite interesting when you bring someone who's new to the space and you just drop Ask wallets and setting them up with a Zum wallet, or some people might call it Zoom wallets, etc. in the space to actually absorb. So if anyone has actually tried to influence a family member, or we take for granted how much we actually know, and just being so comfortable in the space, we are very, very early compared to the 99%. But something with regards to, and all these new coins that are coming out and these airdrops, and one of the concerns that I have, with these airdrops, something like XQK, and I don't mean to badmouth the project, but what would have 4 tier levels that if you're holding 4 million, you will get 8 million. And then it causes people to, exchange their XRP into the drop. And then as the snapshot happens, everyone just sells. And guided XRP for this XQK, which is a great project, supposedly, but that 800 XRP, they're sitting down. It was at 500, they're down 30%. So one of my concerns with all these airdrops and people exchanging the XRP disaster, and I just worry that there's so much shit that's just going on the XRP ledger and people just doing it an injustice. I don't know if anyone has any comments around that, or if anyone's experienced that, or just, welcome, please come up.
I haven't participated in any of them other than Flare and Solo